Good afternoon. We are now in week 4 of Social Work 633, and the emphasis this week is on Bowen Family Systems Therapy. So let's go first to the introduction. And the introduction tells us that Murray Bowen was one of the first to go against the mainstream psychiatric thought and say that individual behavior had to be understood in the context of the family. And so he developed the family genogram that symbolizes a living organism, the multi-generational family emotional system. So the genogram announces the necessity to shift paradigms, to move beyond an individual cause and effect model to a multi-person systems model and understanding human behavior. The objectives are as follows: to describe some of the main ideas in Bowen therapy and language that could potentially be used with a client, to demonstrate knowledge of the symbols used in a genogram as well as the information that can be conveyed, such as intergenerational patterns in a genogram format, and to apply some of the key ideas in Bowen theory to a video demonstrating the use of Bowen family therapy with a family. Next, we'll move to looking at the learning activities. So the first is to look at the readings for the week from the text. We have chapter 4 on Bowen Family Systems Theory. We have several articles, including looking at genograms, assessment and intervention, and standard symbols for genograms. You are also asked to select 2 of the following articles, but to download all of the articles for future references. There are 2 websites. One is the Bowen Center for the Study of the Family, and the other is the Multicultural Family Institute. There is a media requirement for this week, and that is looking at the legacy of unresolved loss. And it's a simulation of an 18-week course of therapy with the Rogers family. And next is how to make a genogram. So you can watch this video on YouTube. So in terms of activities for this week, learning activities or learning assignments for this week, there are several. The first is a discussion, so it's to describe 2 helpful takeaway points from one of the 2 articles you chose to read. Examples include any point that expanded your understanding of a Bowen concept or intervention, and don't forget to state which article your takeaway points came from. Next is to read the Widener shared case and include the following in your answer. Describe how Bowen would explain the difficulty that Anita is having parenting her son, and describe one intervention he might use that would logically follow his assessment about why she is having difficulty at this particular time in her son's life. This post is set up differently in that you cannot see the discussion of others until you put in your discussion. You're responding to at least one classmate, and the initial post is due Thursday and the follow-up between Friday and Sunday. The next discussion is after you have viewed the video that's assigned, include the following in your initial post. What was one intervention that McGoldrick provided that you could envision yourself doing with the family you were seeing? What is one of the triangles present in this family, and how did McGoldrick work to de-triangulate one of the members? And what is one other example of how she coached a family member to be more differentiated? Again, your initial post is due Thursday. Next is a written assignment. This is your group assignment. You were all given the names of the members of your group a few weeks ago. So hopefully you've looked at this assignment and decided who will do which portion of the family therapy theory grid. This assignment will be ongoing as we discuss various theories and interventions through the course of the rest of the course. So it is one theory guide per group. So each person, please be responsible for getting your component in on time. And if there are any questions, please let me know. Owen is one of the first to push that we can't work with individuals without understanding them in the context of their families. Families are the basic emotional unit that we all come from, and families are an interconnected system. Individuals can't be, therefore, understood in isolation. Everyone has a role to play in the family and rules, and they must be respected. We respond to each other based on those roles and rules and relationship agreements. Patterns start to develop based on member behavior and cause members of the family to react in fairly predictable ways. Maintaining those patterns can lead to balance, but can also lead to dysfunction within the family. And there are 8 different key concepts in Bowen's family systems theory. One is triangles, where one side of the family is in conflict with 2 other sides, and those 2 other sides function in harmony. Differentiation of self is a key concept. The nuclear family as an emotional system. Family projection process. Multi-generational transmission process, which is, again, the use of the genogram that was developed by Bowen. Emotional cutoff, position of the siblings in the family, and societal emotional processes. Major problems in a family can be traced often to emotional fusion. So the goal is the differentiation of self, which is based on degree of autonomy in the family and the quality of relationships. Interventions in this theoretical approach include the use of the genogram, neutralizing the triangles, asking process questions, using relationship experiments where the goal is to help the family members be aware of processes and their role in them. The therapist as the coach who avoids taking over for the family and staying away from family triangles. Taking I positions, meaning speaking for self versus trying to project onto others what it is that you feel, and then displacement stories. So if you have questions, please ask them as quickly as possible. I look forward to reading your written work for this week, both the discussion post and your written submissions and your genograms. Have a wonderful week.